और ये दिल्ली के हर व्यक्ति समझते हैं, लेकिन जिन्होंने स्वयं ही माहौल बिगाड़ा, जिन्होंने स्वयं ही पोल्यूशन की ऐसी दलदल खड़ी की, वो अब चीख पुकार मचा रहे हैं।
मनजिंदर सिरसा का कहने का मतलब ये है कि अब तो हमारी वहां से दिल्ली सरकार गई भी तकरीबन साल भर होने वाला है कि वो पोल्यूशन कहीं संभाल के रखी थी, अब निकल आई। क्या मनजिंदर सिंह सिरसा जी
Welcome. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Hem Kaur Saroya. 20 years of constant change, countless voices, innumerable headlines. But there was only one guiding philosophy, a singular purpose, a consistent focus on the truth, a relentless drive to make sense. And today, we celebrate 20 years of CNN News 18, 20 years of making sense. Here's a quick look at the headlines. Goa Police secures 5-day custody of the Luthra brothers. CNN News 18 accesses remand note. Investigators claim the brothers played a key role in the incident. Amid shock and outrage over the death of 34-year-old Venkat, questions remain over accountability. Hospital passes responsibility. Claims rejected by the victim's wife. Health Minister assures strict action into the matter. Parliament to discuss pollution crisis as the toxic air engulfs entire northern India. Tough pollution curbs come into effect, including no PUC, no fuel. Fourth T20I between India and South Africa gets delayed due to poor visibility. Indian players seen wearing masks. Radicals run amok in Bangladesh as ties between New Delhi and Dhaka spiral. India demarches Dhaka envoys, shuts down visa center. Vijay to hold a public meeting of the TVK today. The meet will be the first in Tamil Nadu after Karur tragedy. Police imposes strict restrictions limiting the event to a 2-hour window. Messi rounded out his visit to India with a trip to Anant Ambani's Vantara. Messi took part in traditional Hindu rituals and spent time in the wildlife. All right, we have CNN News 18 exclusive input by Manoj Gupta. Indian agencies are set to join the Sydney investigation into the Bondi Beach shooter after sources revealed he visited India 3 to 4 years ago to meet his mother. A joint team of state police and central intelligence agencies is likely to be sent to Australia to assist the local authorities. The probe will focus on the shooter's ideological leanings, possible online or extremist radicalization, and any link to global Islamist networks. That is the link that's being probed right now. Investigators are examining whether the attack was driven by organized anti-Jewish hatred or lone wolf radicalization influenced by international propaganda. Indian agencies are also checking digital footprints, financial trails, travel details, and any possible contacts, sympathizers, or sleeper networks in India. This is the latest that we are getting right now. As you know, the origins of the shooter are being probed also, and now Indian agencies will be helping Sydney because we're given to understand the perpetrator of this attack visited India about 3 to 4 years ago. Now, for more on this, we have Siddhant Mishra live with us. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk about this particular link that has emerged. We also have with us Anand Narsimhan. Anand, let me just come to you. Of course, there's this link that's being probed right now also in that case of the Bondi Beach shooting. What's your assessment of where things stand right now?
Morning to our viewers and morning, Haim. And, this is going to be a matter of concern for the Indian agencies. And that's the reason why that along with the cops, there are also key officials of the central intelligence agencies who are going to be now actively cooperating with the Australian counterparts, because their interest would be to see where was this radicalization happening, or where was this network? Is it purely anti-Semitism, or is it a radical Islamist bent against all non-Muslims? So one will have to see. And what was the trigger? Were these people lone wolves? Who were these people being indoctrinated by or influenced by? What kind of messaging? What kind of messaging were they consuming? Who did they remain in touch with in Bharat? And are there others in Bharat who carry a similar sentiment? And would they be encouraged to do something like this father and son duo have done in Bondi Beach, somewhere in Bharat? So there will be that aspect which the agencies will be very closely monitoring. They would also want to see out of the cooperation with Israel whether this network was spreading in Bharat, which has got an anti-Jewish sentiment, and could they be targeting Jewish establishments or Jewish people in Bharat itself? So there are multiple layers to which this organization, our agencies would be now looking at the antecedents, the connections, the consumption on social media or the platforms that influence them, beyond the remit of what comes under the Australian authorities. But they would want to learn, they would want to see. And if there are others who are present on Bharatiya soil with similar sentiments or perhaps similar mindset, then those people will be immediately under the radar of the agencies to track their movements. Also, the origins of this indoctrination, origins of this radical aspect, how does it align itself? What were the triggers? These are things which perhaps the Indian agencies would want to see very, very carefully. And also, if this lot had any support from back home or from across the borders or wherever, and who are the people? And if this network is proliferating in Australia, then the Indian agencies will try and help the Australian authorities to also get to the bottom of this.
All right, and thank you so much for that. Let's just go across to Siddhant Mishra, is also joining us on the broadcast this morning. Siddhant, let me just come to you. I want to clarify a few things. Of course, there is this link that is being probed also. There's lots that remains unanswered. What I do want to understand is, were there any established links that have come to the fore? What sort of contact he maintained back in India? And he had been in Australia, we're given to understand, for about 2 decades, more than that. So what is the next line of questioning and investigations?
No, Indian side is more than willing to cooperate. In fact, the other day, the Australian Foreign Minister spoke to EM S. Jaishankar. In fact, at that point also, Indian Foreign Minister extended full support to Australia. And now, in fact, Manoj Gupta is bringing this exclusive piece of information for us. And Manoj says that according to sources, the attacker came to India 3 to 4 years ago to meet his mother. Now, Indian investigators will be joining Sydney, as Anand just mentioned. They want to look at this entire investigation. Also, India will be sending a joint team comprising of officers from the state police force, central intelligences to assist the Australian authorities. The core objective of the Indian team is to examine the shooter's ideological leanings. Indian side also want to know his possible extremist radicalization, online radicalization ways, and any alignment with global Islamist. Investigators aim to establish whether the attack was driven by organized anti-Jewish hatred. Investigators are also not ruling out lone wolf radicalization and influence of international propaganda network linked to anti-Israel. Indian agency want clarity on any former or informal links the shooter have had with the terror outfits. The most sensitive line of inquiry is if the shooter had contact sympathizers or dormant supporter networks, sleeper cells in India. So Indian side is already checking digital footprints, financial trails, or ideological handlers. Investigators want to know the purpose of travel, places visited, individuals met, and the trip played a role in radicalization, recruitment, and operational planning. So when it comes to terrorism, India's position is very, very clear. India condemns terrorism in all forms and manifestations. In fact, whenever there is any consensus which needs to be built, whenever there is some investigation taking place anywhere in the world, India is more than happy to be contributing to the ongoing probe. Perhaps, and you know, that is exactly what India is doing at this point in time.
All right. Now, thank you so much, Siddhant. Do stay on with me, please. Now, this is Naveed Akram. He is the 24-year-old who was also involved in the Bondi Beach shooting. As you know, it was a father-son duo. His father, 50-year-old, we're given to understand, was shot on the scene when police were responding to calls of an active shooter. This is Naveed's picture. Now, their link to India is being probed, in which the Indian agencies are fully cooperating with Australia also. Now, Siddhant, let me come to you on that. Of course, there are a lot of questions about radicalization and motive. What sort of a module were they following? Were these just lone wolf attackers? That's something that, of course, remains to be seen also. But I just want to understand, in the investigation so far, did they have any sort of a prior record? Did they have any other complaints against them?
Look, there are a lot of aspects which need to be investigated at this point in time, as Manoj is also reporting. Whether this was a lone wolf attack, they were radicalized through some online propaganda channels, etc., and decided to do this. Then if this was a lone wolf attack, from where did they get those sophisticated weapons, the explosives? That will also be established in the due course of investigation. Also, something very important to highlight, and perhaps this is something which I have been saying from day one, that there are a lot of similarities between the 7th October attacks, the Pahalgam attacks in India, and also this particular incident. People celebrating, making merries, enjoying with families and friends. Innocent people have been targeted in these attacks. So if you look at the pattern from London to New York, from London to Washington to Pahalgam in India, and now this. So whether they have links to any terror group, whether it was a lone wolf attack, because in the past, we've seen that how, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, in fact, the Hezbollah, proxy Hezbollah group, these groups have also been involved in the overseas operations. So is it some new module? Whether this module also has links to some sleeper cells in India, whether there is some existing sleepers, etc. So Indian investigators will definitely be wanting to contribute, and also to understand this entire case, and also see what links he has in India.
All right. Well, Siddhant, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. Of course, we are still getting more information. The investigations are going to continue into this matter, also with cooperation between Indian and Australian agencies. That's Naveed Akram, the 24-year-old, the son of Sajid Akram, the two perpetrators of the Bondi Beach shooting during a Hanukkah festival. Now, we will continue to bring you all the developments on this front as and when we have more information. Let's shift our focus now. Delhi air. Delhi continues to reel under a toxic mix of smog and dense fog. This morning, visuals from various parts of the capital show thick haze blanketing the national capital. Air quality remains in the poor to very poor category. As per the CPCB, in response, the Commission for Air Quality Management has enforced all curbs under GRAP Stage 4 across Delhi NCR. Dense fog has also hit visibility and transport. An orange alert for fog remains in place till 9:30 a.m. Visibility dropped to 150 meters at Palam Airport and 200 meters at Safdarjung earlier this morning, forcing flight operations under Cat 3 conditions, raising the likelihood of delays and further disruptions. Rail traffic has also been affected, with at least 22 trains running late at New Delhi railway station. Local pilots have been advised to operate at restricted speeds as the capital battles yet another winter air pollution crisis. Meanwhile, noting that China and India know the struggle with air pollution, the Chinese embassy has offered help to Delhi by posting a step-by-step guide on how Beijing was able to battle this crisis. Now, for more on this, we have with us Nivedita Singh and Akash Sharma. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Nivedita, let me just come to you. If you could just show us around what the situation remains like right now.
I am at the Delhi-UP border right now in Gazipur, and the ban on non-BS6 vehicles which are not registered in Delhi has started from this morning, and there is a checkpoint behind me where police is checking the vehicles which are not BS4 and are not registered in Delhi. When they are trying to enter, the police is stopping them and are redirecting them back to Uttar Pradesh. And along with this, the Delhi government has also imposed a ban on refueling of vehicles which does not have a valid pollution certificate starting from this morning. So both these direction from the Delhi government are imposed to ensure that the vehicular pollution in Delhi remains under control, and there are no severe lesser contribution of vehicular pollution in Delhi. Along with this, the Delhi government has also allowed work from home facility for all the organizations registered in Delhi. So in a way, they are expecting already lesser pollution with reducing half of the workforce. But there is strict checking going on here, where each vehicle which are not registered, which the police feels are not below BS6 levels, are being checked and being verified before allowing entry in Delhi.
All right, Akash, let me come to you on this also. As Nivedita is mentioning, these measures are of course in place. This is a crisis that we see annually. It's become a yearly phenomenon right now. We are also expected to see some flight delays, some other disruptions, as though the Indigo spell wasn't enough. This time the Delhi air is causing another spell of disruptions. What can you tell us?
Right, so addition of fog in the pollution has definitely impacted the lifestyle of the national capital. We have been discussing that how AQI remains in the very poor category, and that's the reason why Graded Response Action Plan is in place. In fact, the 4th level of Graded Response Action Plan. Nivedita was talking about the sort of measures that the Delhi government has taken, and right now we are learning that how in fact, the addition of fog has further impacted the visibility, because of which we are seeing delays in the trains and in fact, flight. As far as flight movement is concerned, so we have been given to understand that Delhi airport is equipped with all the fog instruments, that are required for the landings of the aircraft, and that's the reason why we are not seeing significant delays in the flights. But definitely visibility is impacted, and we are learning that visibility is just 150 meters at Indira Gandhi International Airport. On the other hand, as far as rail travels are concerned, so we have been given to understand that trains that are entering to the Northern Railways territory are getting delayed because of the fact that in the outer areas we have visibility very low. At such point, in fact, loco pilots and the loco engines are equipped with the fog safety device. They are given fog detonators as well. But there is a general advisory that you have to maintain, safety, and you have to, in fact, keep the safety paramount. And that's the reason why they are following restricted speed. And in fact, that is because, we are seeing a delay in all the trains that are approaching New Delhi railway station in the next 4 hours. Him.
All right, Akash and Nivedita, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. Of course, this is an ongoing issue, something that we're continuing to track. Now, in a significant development during the winter session, the government has agreed to a short duration discussion on air pollution in the Lok Sabha. Environment Minister is ready with his reply, we're given to understand, and will address the House on the government's timeline and actions. Meanwhile, excessive fog delayed the start of play at Ekana Stadium in Lucknow. India all-rounder Hardik Pandya was seen wearing his mask while warming up ahead of the match as a precaution, with the AQI in Lucknow hovering around the 400 mark. That's hazardous. Such conditions are considered dangerous for outdoor sports. The Delhi government imposed stricter measures, including shifting offices to hybrid mode, a ban on vehicles carrying construction, and a mandatory PUC certificate also.
उन गाड़ियों को फ्यूल नहीं मिलेगा जिनके पास पीयूसी सर्टिफिकेट नहीं है। इसलिए मेरा आग्रह है, जल्दी अपना पोल्यूशन सर्टिफिकेट लीजिए। पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल सर्टिफिकेट होगा तो ही आपको फ्यूल मिलेगा। ये बहुत अनिवार्य है आप सबके लिए। एक दिल्ली के अंदर इंटीग्रेटेड ट्रैफिक मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम का भी हम कंसेप्ट ला रहे हैं, जिससे इंटीग्रेटेड सिस्टम से क्या होगा कि एक रेड लाइट दूसरे रेड लाइट से बात करेगी। हमारी कोशिश है कि नए 100 हॉटस्पॉट्स ऐसे आइडेंटिफाई किए जाएं जो ट्रैफिक के कारण हैं और फिर उनके ऊपर एक प्लान तरीके से काम किया जाए। ये दिल्ली के लिए इस वक्त बहुत जरूरी है।
All right, breaking news coming in 2 p.m. onwards. A discussion on pollution today expected in the Lok Sabha. It's been confirmed by Lok Sabha Speaker, who has given the permission for a short duration discussion. Notices have been given by Priyanka Gandhi, Kanimori and Masuri Swaraj. Reply by Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav is also likely around 5 p.m. today. As I mentioned earlier, he says, I'm ready with my response to this also. For more on this, we have Payal Mehta, who's joining us live. Payal, good morning. Now, of course, we are expecting this short duration discussion around 2 p.m. What can we really expect?
Well, if you remember, then Rahul Gandhi had raised the issue, sometime late last week when he had said that it is important to prioritize this because this is a question of human lives, and human lives are endangered because of the kind of fog and the kind of smog that we actually see, especially in the national capital region as well. So, Kiran Rijiju, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister by then, had also said that yes, we will allow the discussion once a few bills are really passed as well. So, today in the afternoon at 2 o'clock, this decision begins. It's a decision under Rule 193, and the notices have been given by 3 women MPs over here, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. There is, of course, Masuri Swaraj, and there's Kanimori, who is also from the DMK. So this discussion is going to be a short duration discussion. You can expect the reply coming in from Bhupendra Yadav at about 5 o'clock in the evening. The questions will be very, very sternly asked of the government of the day as to what they've been doing. Because year after year, as far as the pollution is concerned, they blame various governments as well. But what happens here in the national capital when they have their own government? Why is it that the government has not been able to control this? Many questions will be asked. And of course, the MPs will want to know from Bhupendra Yadav in particular as to what is the plan forward. Is it too little, too late that the steps are being taken in Delhi?
Right.
And what is the plan forward? Because pollution is not just hit Delhi, it has also hit various other states and various other capital cities, including Mumbai, where you've seen pollution really take center stage.
Right. Pal, thank you so much for that. We also have with us Pallavi Ghosh, who's joining us live. Pallavi, good morning. Now, of course, this is something that we've been discussing for months now, actually, and it's become a yearly annual phenomenon. It's a national health emergency at this point. Many would say that because it's invisible, it's a silent killer, it's perhaps not being treated with the same urgency that it really requires at this point. We are going to see that discussion that's going to happen today, but the point is, are there any sustainable measures in the pipeline which can actually be implemented?
A question which certainly the opposition parties are asking, and I remember Rahul Gandhi had raised it last week when he had said that, there is no ideological warfare as far as battling pollution is concerned. On this, the government and the opposition really need to work together, and the Prime Minister needs to come out with a plan. But, despite that, the underlying kind of dissent, the underlying competition, and also the criticism of the government is something which cannot be denied. And I think today, when the discussion is going to begin post-lunch in the Lok Sabha, the same accusation will be filed against the BJP that you had time to discuss all other topics inside Parliament like Vande Mataram. The Prime Minister is travelling abroad. Remember the pot shots which came in from the Congress party at the PM's trips also, that he's travelling abroad. He doesn't understand what pollution is all about. But yes, there's a sense of urgency, and frankly speaking, I think this is one issue on which the political differences need to sink. But will they? I have my doubts. In Delhi itself, you're seeing the play out between the BJP and the Congress and the AAP versus the BJP as well, which is why the BJP is saying that as long as the AAP was in power in Delhi, the Congress party never made a big issue about pollution. Today, because the AAP government is out, we are in, they are politicizing the entire issue. But nonetheless, post-lunch, when the discussion takes place, around 5 p.m, when the Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav is going to respond, maybe there's going to be some kind of a clarity, the measures which have been taken and the measures which will be taken by the government to combat pollution.
All right. Pallavi, thank you so much. Now, let's shift our focus. The White House under Donald Trump, it's triggered a fresh controversy. A new presidential walk of fame we're talking about, installed on the White House grounds, features plaques that read more like personal attacks than historical citations. Now, Joe Biden is described as Sleepy Joe and labeled the worst president. Barack Obama is called one of the most divisive political figures and blamed for the Russia hoax. So this is the latest controversy emerging out of the White House under Trump 2.0. Now, this, of course, is not much of a departure from Trump's usual tactics. We have seen such attacks in the past also, and this time it's in the Presidential Walk of Fame where these labels have been installed also. We'll continue to bring you the latest on this. We're going to slip into a very short break, but don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side on CNN News 18.
Many things have changed in the last 20 years, but our partnership with you only got stronger.
Political parties.
RTI enabled India's right to know.
System needs to become more transparent.
We saw terrorism's deadliest phase.
This is a terror attack on Mumbai.
Visuals that will haunt Mumbai.
A crisis that plunged the nation in panic.
We are faced with a global slowdown.
A crime that shook 1.4 billion people.
Last bus rides for the girl who would come to be known as Nirbhaya.
We saw India becoming cricket champs after 28 years. The nation chose a strong new leader.
Narendra Damodar Das Modi.
Indian Army.
India attacking terror on enemy soil.
Special forces crept behind enemy lines.
An invisible threat brought the nation to a standstill.
Not a single soul out here.
A space flight that filled every Indian with pride.
It was a very special lift-off.
And only the G.
India taking its place among global leaders.
One Earth, one family, one future.
Time ticked on. The headlines kept changing, but we stood with you with the same